Hello everyone, it's the Canadian Futures Trader here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the video.
Gotta get more followers.
Everyone, this is going to be day one of my new Apex 300k evaluation that I'm taking. You guys wanted it. It is what I am doing. So I did one trade and one trade only today. It was profitable. No, we didn't pass yet. But we are well on our way. So I'm going to walk you through the trade. It actually takes quite a bit of time to play out, so I might fast forward some of the middle part, but I want to walk you through it. Before I start this though, because the video kind of kicks in right away with the trade, I want to point out a few things. So for one, you don't see it as much on the Ultra Bond, but over here on the 10 years, which is the middle DOM, and then the 30-year ZB on the left, there was not a huge range in the prices where activity happened today. So on the 30-year, for example, over here on the left, I mean, you can see the entire range on the screen. Normally, I would say on a normal day, this is actually, a lot further spread apart. So I started watching the treasuries at the normal time. I usually fire things up about 8 a.m. I didn't take this trade until about 10:45. So this is 2 hours, 45 minutes later. I've just been watching the treasuries, watching it go back and forth, back and forth. If I can sum this up without bringing up the chart, it just basically would go up and go down. Like it seriously was just back and forth, back and forth. I was waiting for a situation where I could either get a potential break high or break low. Could I have played the back and forth? Absolutely. But just thinking of things, one question I've gotten a couple times recently is, how to manage the trailing drawdown with someone like an Apex. Well, for a few things, and we'll see it once I get into the trade. One, you have to run a fairly tight stop. Two, it's a good idea to set a profit target. You might think, well, and you'll even see in this video, you might look at where we get to when we take our profit and think, well, you could have let it go and you might have got more profit. That's true. But if it hadn't hit my profit target and it came all the way back on me, now your trailing drawdown's in danger. So I'd rather set profit targets, hit them, and we can always enter a new trade. So that way you're capturing the entire potential of the profit that you have out there, and you're not as worried about the trailing drawdown. So the trailing drawdown really comes into factor when you get run. So say the price moved 5 ticks in my favor and then came right back, 5 ticks against me. Well, I just dragged my trailing drawdown for it, no profit, and it made things a little bit tougher. So setting that profit target makes things a little bit easier overall, if that makes sense. And again, it might make more sense once I show you the actual trade. So I didn't want to trade the back and forth. I was being patient. I mean, I was obviously doing a few other things as well on the computer, but I was just watching, waiting to see. Every time it came near the low or the high, are we going to get that break? Finally saw the opportunity, and like I said, I'm going to play this video now, but we get a nice break low, and we're going to see it across the board here with the other two treasuries as well. So I'll just play it. So I'm in the 300K, so I can go up to 35 contracts. I believe I put all 35 in play here. It was either 30 or 35. Sometimes I stop myself. And I do them in 5-lot increments. I just have my order box set to 5. So at the current point, I'm short 15. I immediately decide to go short, it looks like the full 30, and immediately put on a stop loss of 30 and to take profits. So let me just pause this real quick. So I know this is a pretty big stop in terms of dollars. I mean, but ultimately it's 4 ticks. Yes, I don't necessarily want a 4-tick loser, and I'm pretty sure we'll see it here. I'm going to move this down as the profit moves in our favor. It never really moves against us much, I don't believe. So we're in the good pretty early on, and then I just manage the stop, and I leave my take profit. Like I said, I'm kind of cool with, our profit goal is $20,000 on the 300K. If we can pick up a quarter of that on day one, I am more than happy. But even more so, looking at the depth of market, and again, I'm going to let this play in a second, but I think this is some of the important nuance to the treasuries and what I'm looking for. So point number one, I waited, over 2.5 hours to take this trade. So imagine sitting here watching them go up and down, up and down. There's plenty of opportunity to get in, but just wait. So wait for a fantastic setup. And I'm really looking to take one trade if I can. The less trades I can take on a day and overall to pass, the better. So patience really pays off, and just wait for those perfect setups. 2, when the perfect setups show up, that's when, I'm willing to go full clip. I mean, I'm just shy here at 30 contracts, but go big and take advantage of it, because this is, to me, a higher probability type of setup, and we'll see it work out in a second. And then, of course, like I mentioned, just forgetting the dollar amounts, looking at the action. Anytime we kind of get those break lows, I would say on the Ultra Bond, again, this is my opinion, my experience with them, you'll get a little flurry of activity and you'll get a push down, a couple ticks beyond where the last price action was at the bottom. So, people have their stop set in here, they get triggered. You also just get sellers, if it's pushing down, that are just trying to continue to push the ride down. So I felt like setting my take profit here from both a dollar perspective, but also from just the activity I would expect. Like if I set my take profit way down here, say at 07, there's no real reason. I don't have any reason to think that they're going to push all the way down here. That would just be more wishful thinking. I think this is actually a perfect location for it. So let me go. All of that said, but if you want the explanations, you gotta ride through me explaining the logic behind it all. So right now we're short the 30 contracts. And it kind of goes in spurts. Nothing's much is happening right now. It's just kind of sitting there. I will say, and again, I'll just let this play this time. As usual, I'm in my position over here, but I'm really eyeballing the 10 years here. That's what I've been using lately for the kind of the correlation. I want to make sure these guys are coming down as well. If these guys start to push back up, I'm getting the hell out of my trade, because fully expect them to move more or less in tandem. So, we're one tick to the good now, but that's fantastic and all. But really what I want to see is the pressure down here on the 10s. Now, at this point, I haven't moved my stop. Normally, yes, I would prefer a, 2-3 tick stop. Here we go, actually, right there. Oh, I moved it down 2 ticks. So perfect. Honestly, I love where this is at right now. We're getting ready to push the lows. You're seeing the sells come in. You're not seeing a lot of pushback on the buyers. You're seeing the 10 years get pushed down. You're seeing the 30 years get pushed down. Right now, I've got my stop set to break even. At worst, this thing comes against me. Yeah, my trailing drawdown gets banged a little bit, but I'm not in the hole any. So, and we're, that 2-3 ticks behind. So I'm loving this. I'm loving what I'm seeing. You're seeing a lot of contracts here. That would be the one thing I was like, And I do think it comes up. It obviously doesn't take me out. I've already spoiled the surprise. It comes down and hits my take profit eventually. And, sometimes you get that 1 or 2 tick back tick. That's part why I trail by typically about 3 ticks. I want to give it some room to play out and do its thing. And again, I can't emphasize it enough. I'm watching the 10 years. I really want to make sure there's no big pushbacks on the 10. That might be the key to get out of this trade and take some of the profit. And again, in case it was lost, why have this take profit set? For the few reasons. One, I think this is a logical place for it based on the activity and where we're at. 2, when this comes down and hits this, our trailing drawdown isn't impacted basically at all, because we captured every bit of profit that we had on the table in this trade. Like, we're going to get out here. It's not like it came down here and then went back. So say right now it's at 46. So say it didn't trigger my take profit and went all the way back to break even. Well, then we've screwed ourselves on the trailing drawdown a little bit. You could say, yeah, CFT, exactly. So why aren't you a little bit closer? Well, there we go. So I'm moving the stop loss 2 ticks closer just in case that happens. And we do get a little bit of activity here. Again, though, watching the 10s, and there wasn't a huge push back up, so by the buyers. So at this point, I'm very much just sitting and waiting for this to play out. I want it to come down and hit this. I still fully think it will. Or at worst, it moves back. We still get a little bit of profit. We damage our trailing drawdown a little bit, but a couple thousand. But we have 7,500 to play with, so I'm not too worried. I'm comfortable with where this is at. Now, we do get a bit fortunate here, obviously. It came right back up, but luckily no contracts traded at this price. So we get to stay in this trade. So it really stays in this tight little range for a few minutes. That's how it can be sometimes. There's a flurry of activity, and then there's next to no activity for a bit. But on the positive note, not seeing any pushback over here on the 10s either. Kind of looking at the 30 years. I haven't been using them as much, obviously, lately. And like I said, if this does come back and hit my stop, no harm, no foul. Still a profitable trade, so that would be great. All right, we're looking good. We're starting to get this pushback here. Or sorry, not pushback. We're starting to get a push down over here in the 10s, as well as the 30 years. We're starting to see them kind of catch up here. And here we go right now. I mean, again, this trade has about another minute, a little over a minute left. So it takes that long just to clear out this area. Now you can watch here. So like, I mean, the numbers are changing obviously quite a bit. These guys tried to clear this out and some more contracts popped in. So there's some buyers there trying to hold the line. Unfortunately for them, though, the line is going to be broken. But that works out well for us. And then again, over here on the sell side, or sorry, yeah, on the sellers on the 10 years. I mean, you had some decent contracts trade up, but they haven't been able to do anything with it. Another thing, I always like to look at these outer columns. You can see here, like 1,700 contracts have been added there, and there you get a nice push there, and there our trade got resolved over here as well. So let's pause this since it ends. And I mean, look at this, just pops down. I know it's a little bit blurry, but we finally got that break low that we were looking for. So to bring it back to Apex day one, we're up, a little over 5,000, let's say. Quarter of the way to the goal. In terms of the trade, obviously kind of broke the lows, kind of classic, like the way it played out. And again, the most important part of all of this was waiting for the setup, not chasing the market around all morning. I waited over 2 hours, over 2.5 hours for this situation to develop. So that was kind of the key here, and we get one trade and call it quits. I mean, we'll admit after sitting and watching the market for several hours, you do get pretty bored. I mean, I was doing other things on my other monitor, but once this trade kind of came through, I was like, okay, we're done with it for today. Hey, we need to trade 10 days anyways. We're a quarter of the way. I'm happy with setting a goal of if we can make $5,000 a day, be done in 4 days, fantastic. We will see how the remaining days play out. But that is basically it, guys. So hopefully there's some gems of knowledge in there. I really try to emphasize that one, patience, waiting for a great setup is where the money is made. And two, managing that trailing drawdown, making sure you do keep a tight stop and you do set those take profit orders as well. So you capture the entire profit on the trade. So while my trailing drawdown would have been dragged up, whatever the amount was, I honestly forget already, 5,600 or we can't quite see it here. Yeah, it'd be about 5,600. The thing is, we have that much in profit, so we still have like the entire trailing drawdown back behind us. And that is basically it, guys. So happy about day one, of course, and look for a video tomorrow. I'll recap whatever trade or trades I take for day number 2. And of course, if you want to check out Apex, there's always a link below, and you always save 50% with my code CAN50. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.